Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dainisha Naragita Putri, and I am from group number 2. Can you please turn to the next slide, Nazwa?
Okay.
Okay. So the members of our group are Arvenia Reva, me, Dainisha Naragita Putri, and Nazwa Nashila Fatiriana.
Hello.
So this is the table of contents. Can you turn to the next slide? Okay, so the definition of modal verbs is that modal verbs are used in conjunction with verbs to express their function. Examples are permission, obligation, lack of necessity, possibility, ability, prohibition, advice, and probability. You must remember that modal verbs are followed by an infinitive but without the word to. Must in the last sentence is an example of a modal verb. Modal verbs are different from other auxiliary verbs as they cannot stand alone in a sentence. In English, the modal verbs commonly used are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, and must. Modal verbs are unlike other verbs. They do not change their form or spelling, and they have no infinitive or participle, past or present. The modals must and can need substitute verbs to express obligation or ability in the different tenses. The function of modal verbs is that it aims to communicate possibilities, imperatives, suggestions, abilities, etc. The generic structure A is can. Can is used, number 1, to express or inquire about willingness. The example is that, can you teach me maths? Number 2, in the negative form, to show inability or impossibility. The example, I can make you love me. Number 3, to show possibility, in the sense that an action is theoretically possible. Example, we can arrive in time if we leave now. Number 4, to show ability, in the sense of knowing how or being able to do something. For example, we can swim, but we can't surf yet.
The next word in modal verbs is the word could. Now the word could is used to 1, make a request. For example, could you say it again more slowly? Number 2 is to give a suggestion. For example, you could say, we could try to fix it ourselves. 3 is to show ability in the past. Until he grew taller than me, I could run faster than my younger brother. 4 is to identify possibility in the present. We could go out for dinner or we could just eat leftovers. And number 5 is to express or inquire about permission or willingness in a more polite form. So for example, here we have, could I borrow your violin next week? The next word we have on the list is the word may. So first, you can use the word may to express possibility in the present and future, but a note here to take on this is, in this context, may and might are interchangeable, so they're about the same words. An example I've laid out for you here is, Dr. Fox may be a teacher next year. Number 2 is informal situations to express permission in the sense of being allowed to do something. For example, may I be excused from the table? The next word here is might. Now the word might is used for 3 different things. The first one is to express possibility in the past. For example, he might have seen the movie before he read the book. 2 is to express possibility in the present and future. For example, Mr. Darcy might marry Elizabeth next year. And 3 is you can use the word may in formal situations to express permission in the sense of being allowed to do something. Now, when you are trying to be more polite, it is more suggested to use the word might rather than may, because the word might tends to sound more polite and tentative than may. For example, might I be excused from the table? The next word we have over here is the word will. Now the word will is used to, number 1, express intention. For example, here you could say, I will buy you a toy if you eat the food properly. 2 is to make a prediction. The weather will be hot enough to go to the beach this weekend. 3 is to make a semi-formal request. For example, will you open the window, please? It's very hot in here. 4 is to show willingness or interest. For example, you could say, we're going to the mall. Will you come with us? 5 is for making a promise or a threat. You could say, if you smoke in front of her again, I'll shove that cigarette into your throat. And 6 is to reassure someone or to make a decision. For example, don't worry, you'll settle down quickly, I'm sure. The next word over here is the word would. Now, the word would could be used for 6 different things. The first one is for request. You could say, would you pass the salt, please? Number 2 is for preferences. For example, would you prefer tea or coffee? I'd like tea, please. 3 is to request permission. Would you mind if I brought a colleague with me? Number 4 is to show habitual activity. For example, the dog would bark every time the doorbell rang. Number 5 is to inquire about willingness. For example, would you like to come on vacation with us this year? And 6 is to comment on a likely truth. The doorbell just rang. That would be your mother.
G. Shall. Shall is used first for suggestion. Example, shall we say to pass 30 then? Second, for asking what to do. Example, shall I do that or will you? Third, for offering someone help. Example, shall I help you with your luggage? Fourth, informal or legal situation. Example, the plaintiff shall be allowed to speak. Fifth, in British English, to indicate a promise in the future. Example, the package shall be delivered on Thursday. Sixth, in British English, to form the simple present for I and we. Example, shall we meet at 7? 8. Should. Should is used first to make a suggestion or advice. Example, you should try this soup. Second, to convey the idea of an obligation. Example, he should come to the meetings on time. I must. Must is used for prohibition. Mustn't only. Example, they mustn't disrupt the work more than necessary. Second, to make a comment in a more respectful way. Example, you must do your homework before watching TV. Third, to make a conjecture, but with some certainty. Example, it's already 9 p.m., you must be hungry. Formula. A. Positive sentence formula. They, we, I, you, he, she, it, plus modal verbs plus verb 1. Example, she can speak Japanese fluently. They will attend Ratna's party tomorrow. B. Negative sentence formula. They, we, I, you, he, she, it, plus modal verbs plus not plus verb 1. Example, they should not be together. Maria could not finish her work due to her sickness. C. Interrogative sentence formula. Modal verbs plus they, we, I, you, he, she, it, plus verb 1. Example, can you speak French? Will you hug me? These are the sources of our presentation. Okay, I would like to bring this presentation to a close with wonderful quote. Knowledge is the foundation of life, therefore, never stop learning new things. That's all for our presentation. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.